All right, let's dive right in. We're going to talk about one single ancient word today. But here's the thing. Once you really get what this word is pointing to, it could totally flip the way you see your own reality. I know, that sounds like a huge claim, but trust me, stick with me on this one.
So let's start with a really basic question, one that gets to the heart of everything. Your life, your moment-to-moment experience, is that something that just kind of happens to you? Like you're just sitting in a theater watching a movie? Or is it something you are actively doing? Just let that question sit in the back of your mind for a bit.
Okay, so the word at the very center of all this is Bhava. It comes from the ancient Pali language, and you see it pop up all over the earliest Buddhist teachings. It is absolutely crucial for understanding how our own minds work. Now, if you were to just look up Bhava in a standard dictionary, this is pretty much what you'd find. Becoming, existence, a process of rebirth. You know, it seems simple enough, right? It sounds, well, a little passive, like it's just a state of being or something that's happening on its own. But what if that simple one-word translation is totally missing the real punch? What if it's hiding a meaning that's way more dynamic, way more powerful? Well, that's exactly what we're about to dig into. So we've seen the surface definition. Now we're going to put on a different set of glasses. We're going to look at it through the lens of ancient linguistics, analyzing not just what the word means, but how the word actually works, by digging down to its very root. Okay, so let's start this deep dive. The word bhava, like a lot of words, grows out of an ancient root, a verbal root, and that root is under root bu. The specific method we're using here is called near-rooty. You can think of it like linguistic archaeology. It doesn't just ask, hey, what does this word mean? It asks, what is this word doing? What action is it really pointing to? It's all about finding the verb that's hiding inside the noun. And here it is. This is the absolute game changer. That root bu, it isn't just a passive to be. No, its primary meaning is active. It means to grow, to produce, or, my personal favorite, to generate. All of a sudden, bhava isn't some passive state of being, it's a full-on act of creation. Just look at the difference here. Becoming feels passive, right? It's something that just happens. But generation, that's an active creation. It's something you are doing right now in this very moment. The whole idea flips from a noun into a verb. To really make this click, let's use a modern metaphor. This helps me a lot. What if we stop thinking of the mind as a screen that just receives reality and start thinking of it as a projector that actually creates it? So, in this metaphor, what's the film strip? That's what the texts call upadana, which translates to clinging. Every single frame on that film is one of our deep-seated desires, our attachments, our beliefs, our habits. That's the raw material we are constantly feeding into the machine. And here it is, the star of our show. Bhava is the projector. It's that active, whirring, light-producing mechanism inside of us that takes the film of our clinging and generates a lived experience from it. It's the engine of reality making. And finally, what's the result? The movie that plays out on the screen, the one we call life. Well, that's what the texts call jati, or birth. It's our constant birth into a particular world, a particular feeling, a particular experience, all of it projected by our very own internal bhava. So if bhava is the projector, what kind of movies is it playing? It's funny, the texts actually describe different genres of bhava. You've got kama bhava, which is the world of intense sensory experience. Think of it like a big, loud, vivid action blockbuster. Then there's rupa bhava, that's more like a subtle, quiet, beautiful art house film, focused on refined mental states. And finally, rupa bhava, which is a world of pure thought, almost like an abstract experimental animation. So what keeps the projector running day and night? Well, the texts point to a very specific kind of fuel, bhava tanha. This is basically the thirst for existence, that deep-down desire for the movie, any movie at all, to just keep playing. It's the craving to keep generating worlds. Realizing this literally changes everything. It flips the whole script. You are not a passive audience member just sitting in the dark watching the movie of your life unfold. You're the projectionist. You are actively running the machine that's putting the images on the screen, moment by moment by moment. So the big question is, if we don't like the movie, what can we do? The path is actually laid out pretty clearly in 3 steps. Step 1, with mindfulness, you realize you're sitting in a mental cinema in the first place. Step 2, with insight, you turn around and actually see the bhava projector whirring away. And then step 3, you can choose to stop feeding it new film, which really means learning to let go of the clinging and craving that fuels the whole process. And the ultimate goal described in these teachings? It's to stop the cycle of what's called punabhavo. And what does that mean? Renewed becoming. Or, to stick with our metaphor, it's about stopping the endless, repetitive sequels. It's about bringing the movie marathon to a nice, peaceful end. So, to wrap this all up, bhava is not a passive state. It is an active verb. We are not just becoming. We are constantly generating our experience, our happiness, our sadness, our entire world in every single moment. Life isn't something that happens to you. It's something you are doing.
And so that leaves us with one final, very personal question to think about. Right now, in this very moment, what movie is your mind projecting? Is it a drama, a comedy, maybe a thriller? And now that you know you're the one running the projector, what happens next?